This is Michael Popok, and by the looks of things, it must be Legal AF After Dark. Fani Willis, Fulton County DA, just barely survived a scathing decision by Judge McAfee in Georgia, who took issue with many things that Fani Willis did. Was it fair? Did it go too far? Was it misogynist? Was it racist? What was the basis for the decision? And yes, Fani Willis survived and will be the Fulton County DA and on the Trump case. But at what price? We talk about it on Legal AF, only on the MeidasTouch network. Take a listen.
So, Michael Popok, let's talk about Fulton County. Let's just get right into it with Judge Scott McAfee doing what you and I thought he was going to do here, ultimately not disqualify Fani Willis, although he did find an appearance of impropriety, which he said could be cured. Popok, can you break down what happened here in Fulton County?
Yeah, I'd be happy to, Ben. Look, the headline is that Fani Willis survived motion to disqualify against her. But I'm going to put it right out there. I'm not saying she barely survived, but she took a number of hits to her credibility in front of Judge McAfee. There's no other way to put it. We don't blow smoke or sunshine here. She survived it. He found that let's start at the beginning. He found that, as you and I predicted, that while there was no actual conflict, he was going to use the appearance of impropriety standard, which comes from the rules of ethics and canons of ethics and Georgia law and the law of really almost every state that you and I operate in. I knew he was going to do that because somebody that he looks up to, and he actually quoted twice in the order, former Chief Judge McBurney in the Georgia, same Fulton County courthouse, had disqualified Fani Willis once before. People may not have remembered that because she had an appearance of impropriety and showed poor judgment. Seems to be a theme here, unfortunately, with having supported the fundraiser for a opponent for somebody that she was investigating and prosecuting in former State Senator Burt Jones. So he paraphrase many aspects of what McBurney had done in handling the case with her. So we were saying there's no actual conflict. There's no financial interest. She's not so financially entangled with her relationship with Nathan Wade, who she admitted she had a relationship with and took about half a dozen vacations with, and they shared expenses, and maybe $12,000 or $15,000 went back and forth between them for that. At the end, he said, this is where the appearance of impropriety is a problem for Fani Willis. In his findings, he did say that he found her judgment to be poor, an incredibly poor sense of judgment in dating Nathan Wade at all. He also found an incredible poor sense of judgment in the way that they loosely, in his words, exchanged money between them, especially when he was on the payroll that she supervised. He didn't like that either. He also questioned her veracity. He also said that he found unbelievable certain aspects of her testimony, particularly whether she lied to the court about when that relationship with Nathan Wade started. She was not cleared in this order by any stretch of the imagination. In fact, when the judge was talking about all of the people that testified, including the district attorney, including Nathan Wade, he then has the now infamous line, there's an odor of mendacity that sits over that issue. That means an odor of lying. And part of the lying, he couldn't get to the bottom. And he said, my role as the fact finder is not to ferret out every, inconsistency or lie, but I don't like it. And you can tell he thinks he was lied to, and he just can't figure out by whom and when. And that also cast a pall over her kind of moving forward. And then he didn't like either. When I'm done describing it, people might be thinking, so she got disqualified, right? No. But he did take her to task, that, and I'm sure will be a subject of appeals, the appeal. He also said, your church statement that you made from the pulpit, Martin Luther King Jr. weekend at the Bethel Church in Atlanta, I don't like that either. That was improper, and that was illegal. You came close to getting disqualified as a result. In fact, the judge said, I'm going to invite a motion to effectively limit the ability of the prosecutor to talk about this case outside the courtroom. In other words, extrajudicial statements, which would be an extraordinary remedy here that he's basically gifting and giving to the defense in this case. I'm surprised it hasn't already been filed if I had gotten an invitation like that. And now, and at the end, he said, okay, to get rid of the appearance of impropriety, to get rid of the odor of mendacity, to get rid of the problems I see with you having your former, current ex-boyfriend be the special prosecutor that you're also paying, he has to go. You have a choice. He literally put her on the horns of a dilemma. Stay in the case and fire Nathan Wade, or don't fire Nathan Wade, and we're replacing you. We'll send it over to the prosecutor's counsel in Georgia and reassign the case. And so we know what happened next. I'll turn it back to you for that. But let me just leave it on this. Everything that I just said, the findings of this trier of fact, who is the judge in this case, presiding over this case, is going to pose a problem for Fani Willis moving forward. She's going to stay in the case. But to say that this doesn't gift wrap some aspects for the appeal, because everything I just said and then he didn't disqualify her, the parties on appeal like Donald Trump are going to tell the appellate courts she needs to be disqualified based on all the findings that the judge made. And those findings are not going to get disturbed. Trial judges are given tremendous discretion, especially as the trier of fact. You're not going to be able to get rid of the facts here or explain them away in alternate filings. He made these facts. The question is, how does the appellate court line up these facts? And do they end up in the same place that Judge McAfee did, which is not having to disqualify the prosecutor? And does that delay the case further? I mean, I posit on a hot take, does she need to now, even though she won the battle, does she need to step aside in order for this case to continue? I don't want to leave anybody with the impression that she was exonerated by this decision. She was not, and there's going to be ramifications of it that you and I and Karen are going to have to follow moving forward.
Well, MAGA thinks that she's exonerated because they're saying that Judge Scott McAfee actually works for her, or because he once worked at the district attorney's office, he was doing her a favor by this order. They're saying this was a rigged system and that Judge Scott McAfee did a big favor right here to District Attorney Fani Willis, which he did not. Truthfully, I think he acted reprehensibly. I think this order is absolutely disgusting. I agree with the outcome, but again, he buys into this. When did you first have sex? And did you hook up then? And when did this happen? Who gives a crap? He who casts the stone. I want to see any one of those Trump lawyers, by the way, who are representing an adjudicated rapist, take the stand and have to be asked questions that have really nothing to do with the underlying merits of their profession at all. Guess what? Newsflash. When people date each other, when people have relationships with each other, they go places together. Yeah, that happens when you're in relationships. You don't go, oh, are you going to give me this quid pro quo gift as a result of our relationship? Boyfriend, girlfriend, fiance, husband, wife, whatever. That's not the way what are we even talking about here? The threshold issue is there a conflict that permeates the prosecution such that the criminal defendants have their due process rights stripped away, even if the relationship took place before? Who gives a crap? And look, I understand then the cover-up could become the story versus what actually happened in the relationship. But that's why you need a judge to function as a gatekeeper, because courts are not courts of gossip, not courts of rumor, not courts of innuendo. They are courts of law with admissible evidence. And when I read the order, even the things that he's wagging his finger about, it just feels like what you're being the morality police about when a relationship started. And what Donald Trump can go out on his social media, post photos like he did earlier this morning, AI generated photos of Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis in bathing suits and lingerie, which is what he was doing all morning. Well, that's cool. You can be an adjudicated rapist if you're a white male billionaire. But when it comes to Fani Willis, you know what? I'm going to wag my finger at you for speaking at a black church and saying how it is so important for you to represent the people and to get justice and to make sure the truth comes out. I'm going to say that is inappropriate. But on the other hand, let Donald Trump post semi-nude AI-generated images of Fani Willis, harass her, engage in stochastic terrorism. So frankly, when I read this, when we talk about the justice system being a two-tier justice system, when you talk about the double standards that are at play, and when Donald Trump wants to whine about it and go, oh, pity me, they're coming after me, blah, 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 blah. Donald Trump, you are grifting literally 60, 70, close to $100 million off of people who are funding your legal bills, and you're getting every benefit of the doubt. The legal system is twisting and contorting and bending over backwards to help you, you filthy, disgusting, adjudicated rapist. Yet, when Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis has a consensual relationship with another successful black man in her office, all of a sudden it's, oh my God, this is the most crazy thing. We need an evidentiary hearing. We need to understand. When did you first have sex? When did you first kiss? Was there this? I mean, disgusting, filthy stuff. So look, I'm glad this sordid tale is at least it's been resolved with this hearings. Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis has accepted the resignation of Nathan Wade. Nathan Wade sent a letter immediately saying that he was stepping down. You can see the letter there for those watching on video. Fani Willis responded and thanked Nathan Wade for his work, for his effort. This was all made public. It was also kind of a jab at the judge and a jab at Trump and Trump's co-defendants for what they had kind of put them through. But more importantly, I think it was just a way to restore kind of the reputation here, because I've said this and you've said this, Popok, before on this show. The legal work in this case has not just been first class, first rate. It's some of the best legal writing I ever saw. I mean, when I was looking at some of that 11th Circuit briefing on the Mark Meadows issues, where Mark Meadows hired all of these top white-collar lawyers, who the ones who get paid $1,500 an hour, not $200 an hour like Nathan Wade, $1,500 an hour, $2,000 an hour. Nathan Wade wiped the floor with them. That's what went down. So shame on this whole process. Frankly, shame on Judge Scott McAfee. Obviously, Trump, the adjudicated rapist, and his co-defendants who try to destroy our democracy deserve, the shame as well. But that is obvious right there. And frankly, shame on the media for not covering this the right way. Absolutely ridiculous. Popok.
You and I are on the same side. I am my purpose in kind of giving you the problems moving forward for Fani Willis was not to suggest that I agreed with Scott McAfee, although we all saw this coming. We knew it was going to be appearance of impropriety because that's what McBurney had done, his predecessor in the case. We knew that, basically that glass ceiling, unfortunately, had already been broken in the wrong way because she had been disqualified once before. And somebody that apparently a very young novice judge in McAfee admires McBurney, and McBurney even took her to task for judgment issues. The issue is not for McAfee. I must combine them into McBurney. The issue is not the sex, although you can tell he's got a problem with it. The issue was why she took a position at all about the start of the relationship, and if she took a position, whether it was true or not. But look, the good news for her is that, as the headline suggests, she is back on the case. She never has been taken off. She'll have to regroup now. She lost, as she noted, a person with 865 days of experience invested in the case in Nathan Wade. Nathan Wade, as you said, Ben, and we've followed all along the way, won every major hearing, minor hearing, from the special purpose grand jury to the grand jury to the federal court system to up to the Supreme Court system, in getting witnesses, getting the indictment on solid footing, and everything else. I mean, you couldn't ask for more. People that still comment that he is underqualified or not qualified for that his position have not been watching his Hall of Fame numbers during the last 865 days. It's a tremendous loss for Fani Willis professionally in losing him. Also was a confidant of hers. She's going to have to find a way to regroup here, get off the mat and replace him. I don't think she's going to be the lead prosecutor. She's got a large office to run with thousands and thousands of cases. And this isn't, despite Karen being our colleague, this is not Law and Order. And Jack is not going to come in and try the case. So she's got to either bring in another special prosecutor, like who's going to take that job at this moment, or she's got to find somebody handpicked within her own office in order to be the face of this case, the kind of the lead face for this case. I am troubled by the invitation for the motion to gag. You and I will have to have a lot of conversation about that. And then lastly, I was, just to kind of reinforce your comment, Scott McAfee was so worried about his own safety. I mean, Fani Willis has been violently attacked, doxxed, and in rhetoric, using the N-word, violent attacks on her, that she has basically had to wear a bulletproof vest along with her staff and had the sheriff's department take her to and from work for like the last 2.5 years. Scott McAfee, apparently, the reporting is the judge had some sort of death threats against him and his family, maybe for the reasons that you stated, that they finally figured out somewhere. And if all they had to do was go to Legal AF, they would have learned a long time ago that Fani Willis used to be his boss in the Fulton County DA's office, not when she was the DA, but when she was the head of one of the, I think, the complex litigation division, and he worked under her as a young lawyer. But he had a safety concern, and until there was apparently he had this decision ready to go last week, but wanted the security plan in place for his family and him before he launched this order. And I'm thinking to myself, what about Fani's security plan? I mean, now if he thinks he's getting it, what do you think's happening in her world right now, or in Nathan Wade's world right now by MAGA? It's not pretty, and it's violent, and something bad could happen, and I'm hoping it doesn't.
I hope, we all hope that nothing happens. But when stochastic terrorism is allowed to permeate the way it does, and it's allowed to be normalized as just an alternative political viewpoint, which it's not, and not universally condemned, there's some real problems there. It's why we always frame things in terms of the community of pro-democracy, truth, and fact versus whatever this MAGA thing is. And again, I talked about it before the break. I mean, the types of things that Trump is posting and saying, it's humiliating to our country. It's dangerous. It's shameful. It's disgusting stuff. But
welcome back. That was Legal AF. We sit at the intersection of law and politics. We do it one place, exclusively on the MeidasTouch network and on this YouTube channel. We pulled together the top 5 stories or so at the intersection of law and politics. We bring it to you twice a week, Wednesdays and Saturdays at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on this YouTube channel, and then in hot takes about hourly and daily to catch you up in between. If you like a show where lawyers know what they're talking about at the intersection of law, politics, and justice, you've come to the right place. How novel! And then on Legal AF, we ask you to join us. If you're already there, you know everything you need to know about Legal AF, and you watch the hour-long podcast or download it on our various platforms, Apple, Google, Spotify, welcome back. We appreciate you. Take that clip and see if you can get some other people in your life to join our journey as part of theirs. Say, hey, you know that show Legal AF that I like a lot? Here's a clip of it, and maybe that'll get them to invest some time in our show. On the other hand, if you have no idea what I'm talking about or what Legal AF is, I'm Michael Popok. That was Legal AF. And if you like that kind of hard-hitting analysis where we don't blow smoke or sunshine, join us on Wednesdays and Saturdays at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on YouTube, and then anywhere you get your audio podcast platforms from. So until my next hot take, until my next Legal AF, this is Michael Popok reporting.
Love this video? Make sure you stay up to date on the latest breaking news and all things Meidas by signing up to the Meidas Touch newsletter at MeidasTouch.com/newsletter.